Now, I want to get to another clip here that is from University of Calgary up in Canada, where they did an electron microscope scan of what happens when mercury hits brain cells. And so you've got the sodium fluoride, the mercury, the cancer viruses, all of this, and you wonder why there's all these neurological disorders. And then it cuts into a local Austin newscast that was actually packaged nationally. This aired on all the local CBS affiliates. They just read off a teleprompter and have a video package over it, so it has the local view. But this aired on every CBS station in the country, telling people that mercury is now good for your children's brains. Here it is.
To better understand mercury's effect on the brain, let us first illustrate what brain neurons look like and how they grow. In this animation, we see 3 brain neurons growing in a tissue culture, each with a central cell body and numerous neurite processes. At the end of each neurite is a growth cone where structural proteins are assembled to form the cell membrane. 2 principal proteins involved in growth cone function are actin, which is responsible for the pulsating motion seen here, and tubulin, a major structural component of the neurite membrane. Shown here is the neurite of a live neuron isolated from snail brain tissue, displaying linear growth due to growth cone activity. It is important to note that growth cones in all animal species, ranging from snails to humans, have identical structural and behavioral characteristics and use proteins of virtually identical composition. In this experiment, neurons also isolated from snail brain tissue were grown in culture for several days, after which very low concentrations of mercury were added to the culture medium for 20 minutes. Over the next 30 minutes, the neurite membrane underwent rapid degeneration, leaving behind the denuded neurofibrils seen here. In contrast, other heavy metals added at this same concentration, such as aluminum, lead, cadmium, and manganese, did not produce this effect. Shown here is a neurite growth cone stained specifically for tubulin and actin, before and after mercury exposure. Note that the mercury has caused disintegration of tubulin microtubule structure. These new findings reveal important visual evidence as to how mercury causes neurodegeneration. More importantly, this study provides the first direct evidence that low-level mercury exposure is indeed a precipitating factor that can initiate this neurodegenerative process within the brain.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics. There have been widespread concerns that mercury-based preservatives in vaccines might impair the neurological development of children. These new studies suggest that the opposite, that the preservatives may actually be associated with improved behavior and mental performance.
So mercury literally annihilates brain cells like no other heavy metal in microscopic amounts, much lower than what they're injecting into kids. But if you read off a teleprompter, it's magic. It's absolute magic. And all these brain damaged kids and the lowering IQs in the West and the skyrocketing cancer, it's all just a big accident. But that Merck scientist said, we just gave it to the Russians to kill their ass. It's so much fun. Trust the government. They love you now, and you know they do. I shouldn't get upset, should I? I shouldn't be up here at night fighting the globalists. I shouldn't be obsessed with this. I shouldn't have had those nightmares last night knowing they're killing us on purpose. I should just shave my head for all the kids dying around me of cancer. I've got a bunch of people in the office with girlfriends and young people dying of cancer. I should just shave my head and go for a jog and feel real good and give some money to the killers instead of actually finding out they're doing it to us on purpose. Because you don't want to actually save anybody. You just want to feel good. So I apologize. I really do.